Chapter 114. Jenny was just about to take a break from studying and go out to enjoy the beautiful May sun when her phone rang. Inga P. That was unusual. It was even more unusual to hear her being all excited. "I've found the perfect illustration for your article." "I don't understand. We've already chosen a number of archive photos plus Malka's old photo." I know. And believe me, I know how much work you put into choosing suitable photos, but I've just seen some amazing photos from a photographer who's been to Israel recently. His photography is innovative and different, just like your text. I know this is last minute, but if you come here immediately and select your favorites, the girl who does the layout can still make it before the deadline. But you do need to come right away. Jenny knew she should be happy, but the feeling that rose in her chest was irritation. Everything was ready. She had even celebrated the ending of the special assignment with Nada and Malka last week, and she had enjoyed being able to focus fully on her last exams. And now Inga P came up with this last-minute change. But she also knew that Inga P knew her stuff. Maybe this would make the article even better. "I will come as soon as I can. Your office?" "Yes, my office. I have the photos here and I'll ask the photographer to join us, if he can." When Jenny stepped into the office, Inga P was leaning over a table with photos scattered over the top. Come in. Inga P eagerly motioned for her to come. "I understand that it seems strange that I want to do this now, but you will understand why when you see this." Jenny walked over to the table and Inga P pointed to one of the pictures. "Look at this one. This is exactly the essence of what you're writing about, isn't it?" Jenny leaned forward to see better. The picture was taken with a new wall in the background. There were soldiers with automatic weapons, and in the left corner there were some Palestinian youths with stones in their hands. None of this was in focus. What the photographer highlighted were two girls sitting and playing. They were playing marbles, with faces shining with fascination and joy. The wall, the soldiers, the hateful young people didn't matter. They were completely fulfilled by their game. "Oh yes," she said thoughtfully. "This is exactly what I'm writing about." She looked at the other pictures. There were photos of magnificent landscapes, all of them with something else in the foreground, something small and seemingly insignificant that the photographer had chosen to highlight. The beautiful mountain became a backdrop to the empty bullet sleeve that was in focus. The sister's stress became a background to rosebush. Another image made her gasp. The picture was taken shortly after a terrorist attack. People were rushing forward, stretchers were being carried with dead or wounded people. Horrible images. But they were the kind that appeared in the news so often that she had learned not to get touched by them. What grabbed her with this photo was that the photographer had highlighted a small child's shoe. Empty. A pink child's shoe that a little girl had been wearing seconds before the bomb had exploded. Anyone could relate to that shoe. That shoe made the picture real, even for those who were sitting in safe and secure Sweden when they saw the picture. There were many different images and many different motifs, but the theme was consistent. Obvious things in the background, something unexpected, something you usually didn't think of, in the foreground. She had never seen the pictures before, but still she recognized them so well. Therefore she knew who came into the room while she was looking at the photos. It was because she recognized the style that she was prepared at this time. "Hello, Jenny." Without looking up, she answered, "Hello, Peter." She turned around and looked at him with a big smile. Being prepared didn't stop her heart from dashing madly when she saw him. He was beautiful as always, wearing jeans and a short-sleeved brown summer shirt. Her gaze stopped at a scar that ran through his left eyebrow. That was new. He had not had that before. His fringe was shorter. He no longer flipped it to the side. There was something else that was different too, something she couldn't put her finger on. Peter looked at Jenny as well, in a white skirt and the red sleeveless top. All the hair was the same color again, the light blonde it had had when he had seen her for the first time. He also saw that the light in her eyes, the light he had been part of lighting again, was still shining brightly. Inga P looked from one to the other. I was going to introduce you to each other, but it doesn't seem necessary. Jenny and Peter took a few steps forward and put their arms around each other in a long, strong hug. But Jenny, if you know him, why didn't you suggest his photos for this? They stopped hugging, but stayed close to each other. Jenny's eyes reluctantly let go of Peter's gaze as she looked at Inga-P. I know him, but it's been a year since we last saw each other. I had no idea he had taken pictures in Israel and Palestine. She looked at Peter again. But as soon as I saw the photos, I knew they were yours. It's the same style, same theme as the photos you showed me 6 years ago. My God, has it been 6 years? All right, Inga-P interrupted. You can talk about old memories some other time. It's 10:30. At 3 o'clock you need to tell me which of the photos you want for the text and what text to write under each picture. You can select up to 10 of them. Can you do that? Jenny looked at Peter with lifted eyebrows. He nodded. Of course we can, Jenny answered. I need my office, so please take the photos and do your work elsewhere. Peter collected the pictures and they went out of the office. Peter, I just had an idea. I have a picture of Nada and Malka. I know you don't know who they are, but of course I do. I've read your text. It's great, Jenny. You've become just as good a journalist as I knew you would be. She looked at him and smiled. She hadn't stopped smiling since he had stepped into the room. Anyway, my idea. We have a photo of Nada and Malka when they were little, and I thought, if we have time, it would be good to take a similar photo now that they are adults. Can you fix that quickly, if I can get a hold of them? Of course. Great, it will be perfect. One photo of them as little girls and one picture of them now. Let's go to the library and select photos. I'll call Malka. She walked quickly. I watched her in astonishment. She was so focused, so set on the task, so seemingly unaffected by meeting him again. Hi Malka, you have a lunch break soon, right? If not, please take one anyway. Something really big has happened. We won't use the archive photos from my article after all. We'll use photos from a photographer, from Peter Stoltz. Yes, that Peter. She was silent for a short moment and rolled her eyes. She put her hand over the phone's microphone and whispered to Peter. She always thinks all coincidences are signs from God. She removed her hand and continued. In any case, we will select new photos, and since I have Peter here, I thought he could take a photo of you and Nada. Then we have both a childhood image and a contemporary image. It'll be fantastic. No, it can't wait. We need to be done with everything by 3 o'clock. Take a lunch break. Find Nada and come over here. Please? And he tilted her head and pouted her lips. Then she jumped up and screamed with a high-pitched voice. Yes! Thank you! We are at Gothenburg University now. Jenny turned to Peter. Where will we take the pictures? He took her mobile phone. Hi, Malka, this is Peter. I read about you in Jenny's article. Looking forward to meeting you and Nada. We could take the pictures in the park here. The light should be nice for another couple of hours, so if you have the opportunity to come here, it would be good. By the time he had ended the conversation, they had arrived at the library. Without changing pace, Jenny went straight in and found a free table. Can you put the photos here, so we can look at all of them? He didn't answer, so she looked up, wondering what took him so long. He gave her a quick kiss on the mouth, making her completely forget what she had just asked. He laughed. Oh, that was the key. What? She stroked her lips with her fingertips. I was wondering what I could do to get into your world. You've been running your own race ever since we got out of Inga's room. I can barely keep up. She pulled a hand through her hair. I'm sorry. I just want to fix this. I've worked so long on this, and I want to make sure it's great and that we won't miss the deadline. We won't miss it. Calmly laid out the photos on the table. Jenny immediately began sorting them into piles. It's not possible to choose right away. There are so many beautiful ones, so many that fit my text so well. These are all great for the first section of the article. These 3 fit the next one. Where is this taken? She put her finger just above one of the photos. Peter looked more at Jenny than at the photos, turned his gaze to the picture that she was pointing to. Netanya. Nice beach, a lot of tourists. She nodded and put the photos in one of the piles she had built on the table. They continued and managed to shrink the interesting pictures to 23. They'd have to do another selection to get down to 10, but through the window Jenny saw Malka and Nada. They had come by bike. Nada had just learned to cycle and almost ran into Malka when she braked. Come on, Jenny grabbed Peter's arm. Let me introduce you to 2 wonderful women. Shortly after, Jenny rested with her back towards a tree while Peter directed Nada and Malka, laughing, standing on either side of a birch tree. After a while, Jenny relaxed. This was Erja's Peter of expertise. He was in control. There was nothing she had to do right now. She smiled as she watched them. Peter was not aiming to be a photographer of 4 portraits, but he would be great at that as well. With his charm and his easygoing ways, he made Nada and Malka feel completely relaxed, and after a while they forgot the camera was there. He took picture after picture while Nada and Malka laughed and talked to each other. Jenny enjoyed watching them, enjoyed looking at Peter. It was restful to look at him, his fluid movements and his beauty. Suddenly he turned his face toward her, smiled, blinked, and took a couple of quick photos of her. She smiled at her own reaction. That quick look, the wink, that was all that was needed for her heart to race again. It's Christmas Eve today, she thought to herself. It may not be Christmas Eve every day, but today is Christmas Eve for me. After a few minutes he came over and sat down next to her. What do you think? He handed her the camera. It's good. Look at all of them. They're all a little different. She clicked further through the series of pictures. I like these 3. They're all similar to the image from when they were children. Only now had Malka and Nada discovered that Peter was no longer photographing them, and they walked over to him and Jenny. Jenny showed them the pictures, and Nada and Malka looked at them, giggling. Can we get copies of them? Of course, Malka, you can have copies of all of them. Malka glanced at her watch. Now I really have to get back to work. Jenny nodded. Thank you for taking the time to come. Don't mention it, it was great fun. Malka shook Peter's hand. It was nice meeting you. When Jenny followed them to the bikes, Malka put an elbow in Jenny's side and whispered, What an Adonis! Jenny laughed. I know. He knows it as well, Mr. Not So Modest. When Malka and Nada cycled away, Jenny glanced at her watch. It's past 12. We have less than 3 hours. It's time for lunch, Jenny. She bit her lower lip. Calm down. We do have enough time. Let's go. He put his arm around her shoulders and they walked towards Göteborgsposten.